Giannis is opening his mind to a move out of Milwaukee. Which team should he be thinking about most? Plus, two worlds collide as the 8 remaining playoff teams try to survive the NBA's brutal playoff schedule, and 14 teams pray to ping pong balls for a savior. It's NBA Lottery Day, and we've got a preview today on Locked On NBA.
You are Locked On NBA, your daily NBA podcast. Part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day.
Welcome to Locked On NBA. Thanks so much for making us your first listen of the day. We are free. We are available wherever you get your podcast, part of the Locked On Podcast Network, your team every day. This episode is brought to you by Monarch Money. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. I'm Doug Branson, host of Locked On Hornets. I am live here in Chicago where the NBA Lottery and Combine are due to take place. I'm also your Shot Clock Sherpa, guiding you through the NBA's biggest stories with the help of Locked On's local experts. And I have two of the best with me to break it down, as always, from the Locked On Nuggets podcast and senior writer for the Action Network, Matt Moore. Matt, we're going to get to more on the NBA Lottery a little bit later in the show, but I feel like everyone today, this morning, has been weighing in on the Benedict Mathurin, DeAndre Hunter, Donnybrook that began as some kind of contact initiated by Mathurin. Some say punch, some say push. He was ejected. I would like you to weigh in. Punch, not a punch.
Smunch. It was like a smush punch. I don't think it actually qualifies as like a punch. I don't think I doubt that it's going to be a suspension here. I understand why the fracas ensued, but I would ultimately lean on the side of not a punch, as I think if you're going to call something a punch, it's got to be like, oh, that's a punch. That's where I weigh in on it.
And from the Locked On Bulls podcast, we've got Hayes. Hayes, we are the two hosts of lottery teams on the show today. Do you have any go-to lucky lottery charms?
The Pope is from Chicago. I don't need any more luck.
When you got God on your side, do you need luck? I don't know. That's a good point. All right, we're not going to start with the lottery, though. We're going to start in Milwaukee, where Bucks fans anxiously wait out speculation over Giannis Antetokounmpo's future. They aren't any less anxious today by this new report from Shams, who writes, the two-time NBA MVP has not made any firm decisions on his Bucks future, but for the first time in his career, Antetokounmpo is open-minded about exploring whether his best long-term fit is remaining in Milwaukee or playing elsewhere, league sources told ESPN. Matt, if you could open his mind to any particular team that is ready to win a championship with him, which one would it be?
Okay, that's a good question. I think OKC. If you trade J-Dub and picks along with salary filler for Giannis, and I don't know how to get the salary there, Hartenstein would be a big part of it. If you do that and you've got two MVP candidates on the same team, and you got Shea and you've got Giannis, and Giannis is willing to screen, Shea's a little bit more athletic. Obviously, the defense is around him. Like, that defense would just be it's already horrifying, though. So maybe it couldn't get any better. But the amount of physicality they'd be able to bring to any single game would be absolutely just unfathomably incredible. Houston's the other one that I look at and go, man, that'd be like an incredibly fun team. I don't think they get Amen Thompson. Bucks fans are mad with me this morning for saying they don't get Amen. I just don't think that. I think the Rockets will be like, you can get anything else. Any other of the young guys you want, multiple. We'll give you Şengün and Jabari, but you're not getting them in. But that combo, I think, with Ime Udoka and what they can put around him, I think that combo is going to lead to a really, really, really fun team. Hayes, imagine a Tari Eason, Amen Thompson, Giannis Antetokounmpo lineup. Oh my God, the just level of viciousness in that lineup.
That's exactly the place that I want Giannis to go to. It like if it's anywhere that I have my choices, to Houston Rockets. You can get young players, you can get picks. Like you said, you just can't get them in. That's it. We can have a conversation about just about anything else. You can't get them in. And if I'm Giannis too, I want them in to be there. So Houston Rockets are the one. But don't sleep on the Spurs being a scary scenario here as well. But I'd pick the Houston Rockets.
Matt, what do you think is a reasonable return for Giannis Antetokounmpo? You know, if he lays out his 1, 2, 3 teams that he's interested in going to, what does that look like for you?
Okay, so this is tough because you're obviously going to try and keep as much as you can if you're the contending team trading for him. And if you're the Bucks, it's like, you should give me everything. This is Giannis. Look at Giannis. It's Giannis. And I get it. And I don't think you should accept like a Luka Doncic deal. Who would possibly do that? But I do think that at some level it needs to be. This is why I like the OKC deal a little bit better for Milwaukee. Because if you get J-Dub on the premise, if Presti goes, I can't afford Chet, J-Dub, and Shea for 5 years. I could afford Giannis through the end of Chet's contract and maybe 2 years, and Shea, and then transition to Shea, Chet, and somebody else after Giannis is gone. That manages the new CBA. J-Dub gets to have his own team in Milwaukee, and the picks that they have get Milwaukee back to zero. Like, that instantly resets Milwaukee on top of if they trade Brook Lopez and some of the other pieces. So that to me is like the one that makes the most sense from a let's get everything back to zero standpoint is the OKC trade. That to me is good value because OKC has that stuff to give up in this deal.
I don't like it as much because I think OKC doesn't need to break up their roster yet. I think that they just need to keep it together and keep developing. I think the Houston Rockets need somebody like Giannis immediately, but if the OKC Thunder are going to make that move, I think Matt's laid out the kind of best plan for it. Now, J-Dub having his own team in Milwaukee, I don't know if I'm J-Dub, if that's necessarily what I want, but it's not like it's in his control. So, I mean, it can make sense there. I still just think the best scenario for him is Houston.
I mean, look, man, if you're J-Dub, it's the Harden situation. That's what this is. Even if you don't become Harden in terms of the scoring, you're going to get so much usage and you're such a good defensive player. You are instantly a supermax guy in Milwaukee. You might have to be in a spot where OKC's like, you got to take a pay cut here. Like, I can't make room for all this. And you have fewer opportunities to make the max the supermax. Like, Milwaukee's your best earning potential if you're J-Dub.
So obviously a lot of the conversation today is where could Giannis land, but Locked On Bucks, they're not giving up that easy. Here's Frank Madden with his pitch for Giannis to stay.
Giannis knows what happened with KD, right? I don't think he wants to go and be somebody's wingman, even if he's nominally the better player. So I think the pitch is like a few things, right? It's we're going to bring back these like young shooters, energetic guys that you sparked with at the end of the year that are going to be able to kind of play and fit around you. We're going to put the ball in your hands. You're going to go out and average 33, 13, and 9 assists a game. And, we're going to be Giannis in a cloud of dust on offense, and we're going to try to play faster, more frenetic. The other big variable, which people are probably saying, what about this, Frank, is Doc Rivers. And I don't necessarily read a ton into Doc Rivers, like not having any like decision made. I also like Giannis's comments about Doc were like basically like he's a really nice person, which to me didn't necessarily tell me that like Giannis is going to pound the table and demand that Doc stay.
Okay, Matt, what do you think about that pitch there by Frank Madden? Good enough to keep Giannis in Milwaukee?
I mean, if Giannis decides that that's what he wants for his career, that's awesome. Like, I would love that. I think that's the best story is that he just stays and they find a way with multiple. He's got another, I think, 4 to 5 years of contention of like being a monster. You got 4 to 5 years to figure this out. Next year's lost. You load up for 2027. Like that to me makes sense. But I think it's tough to be like, hey, do you want to average 30 while getting ground down to dust and limiting your future earnings because of the miles we're going to put on your body? And we decided to hire Doc Rivers and gave him a lot of control when he was already inside the organization. Like, I don't know, man. I think it's a tough sell at this point of just him wasting a year of his career after the age of 30.
Hey, should they even be making a pitch? Would it be better for Milwaukee to move on now with him thinking about moving?
I think so. I think this is the green light that you needed for the best for your franchise. Like, yeah, you can still keep Giannis there, and you can still keep making the playoffs and still getting eliminated in the first round. But the Milwaukee Bucks, even throughout Giannis, have never been a huge free agent destination. They've never been that. Their only path, really, for Milwaukee to build something that's sustainable is through the draft. You have no draft picks, really. You've given up so much draft capital over the years. I think this is the best decision for the future of your franchise, and you may need to make it now because the draft lottery is tonight. And who's to say a team like the Houston Rockets gets lucky? That's a top 10 pick potentially for you in your pocket on top of everything else you're doing to restart off with. So I think it's best for the Milwaukee Bucks just go ahead and prepare. It's the inevitable future. We've all seen it for years. You brought in Dame. That was your last Hail Mary. I think it's time to just realize and embrace a future without Giannis.
Disagree, man. Like he just like it would be so good for the fans to just be able to keep Giannis and be like him be a fixture in their lives. Like we're missing this in sports now. Some guys just need to be a fixture, and I think Giannis needs to be a fixture in Milwaukee. I just think that's the better story here. I don't want to see Milwaukee go through the desert again after this entire stretch. I want good things for Giannis, but I also think the Bucks have shown a willingness to make strong, bold moves to compete around him. Yeah, they're at the bottom of the assets barrel, but those will refill in time. I think the best thing for them is if he wants to stay, absolutely, you keep him.
All right, it's a good debate. Let us know what you think on YouTube, youtube.com/@LockedOnNBA. Coming up on Locked On NBA, it is draft lottery night, and a lot of teams are looking to make Cooper Flagg a fixture for their franchise. I will ask Matt and Hayes, which team deserves to get that number 1 overall selection the most. Plus, we'll shift gears back into the NBA playoffs. The Cavs, they get smashed by the Pacers. I want to know, what does this do to how we view Donovan Mitchell moving forward? Plus, OKC, they saved their season. A lot more ahead here on Locked On NBA. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by DoorDash. NBA fans, it's playoff season, and DoorDash is turning big-time buckets into big-time bites. With Dash Pass, you can cash in when the stars show out. It's called They Swoosh, and you score. Anytime a player drops 50-plus points in a playoff game, Dash Pass members are going to score a free 3-piece Crispy Tenders combo from Wingstop the very next day. Just place a $20 or more order and use code WINGSTOP50 and you are eating good. Offer valid from noon to midnight next day. Terms apply. My go-to after a big game, well, that would be an order of wings and a highlight replay playlist. This deal just makes it even sweeter. Dash Pass means $0 delivery fees, perks like this, and savings all season long. Don't miss out. Sign up for Dash Pass and be ready to go the next time someone drops 50 points. That's Dash Pass, your door to more flavor, more savings, and more ways to win. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. The draft lottery is tonight, and Locked On NBA will be doing a special live squad show on the NBA lottery on our YouTube channel. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please do so and hit the bell to get notified when our experts go live tonight. So it's all well and good to talk about which team needs to win the lottery and get the right to select Cooper Flagg number 1 overall, but I'm more curious who you think deserves to win the draft lottery tonight. Hayes, we'll start with you.
Oh, that's a great question. Ethical tanking should be rewarded a little bit more, right? Like to take that. I always go with the Spurs. I think they're just because they're a good ran organization and they develop their players. And if Cooper Flagg goes there, you trust they're going to get the best out of Cooper Flagg. So I'll say the San Antonio Spurs because they're also here in part because their best player got hurt and went down. So it's not like haven't they already got a rewarder for that once with Tim Duncan? Sounds like we're reliving history here. So I'll still say the Spurs.
They have 4 championships in the last 25 years. Hayes, what are you doing?
I'm getting them more championships. That's what I'm doing.
No. I actually went, because I'm a huge nerd, for an article over at Fansided, I actually ranked all of the lottery teams on fan base, organization, and the basketball side of it, how much they deserve it. And the number 1 team, you will not be surprised to hear, is the Washington Wizards. Look, that franchise, yeah, okay, they got last year, they got Sarr. Come on, let's give them an actual start. Let's give them an actual number 1 pick. They have been through so much. They had to deal with the Wall and Beal era, all of that. They've never been good. They're most known as the team that Jordan's sad last chapter was in. Like, they haven't been good in 30 years, 40 years. It's been for these Wizards fans. Let's give them an actual team to root behind. DC is a great sports town when the teams are good. We saw that with the Commanders this year. The organization has actually worked to like, hey, we're going to trade Kyle Kuzma. Hey, we're trying to instill like a development program. They're developing young guys. Bub Carrington, Keyshawn George, Alexander Sarr, Cooper Flagg. That's an amazing combo. It's the Washington Wizards. By the way, number 2 and number 3 are the Portland Trailblazers. And I did have the San Antonio Spurs as the 3rd team.
I made the case for the Charlotte Hornets on the latest edition of Locked On Hornets, so go check that out. That's not going to be a surprise. It's not a surprise that Matt Moore going for the Wizards. You've been talking up the Wizards a lot.
Flagg to the
season.
Wizards makes a lot of sense.
All right, we'll see.
Flagg to the Jazz makes the most sense.
Why? All right, so one of the more interesting team logos to watch tonight will be the Philadelphia 76ers. They have the 5th best odds of getting the number 1 pick, but Sixers fans wouldn't mind staying put. Here's Locked On Sixers host Keith Pompey with more on that.
The 76ers first round pick this year is top 6 protected, which means is if it falls out of the top 6 in the lottery, it goes to the Oklahoma City Thunder. It will be devastating if they lost that pick. It really would. But it wouldn't be surprising just because, in my opinion, a lot of the things that could have gone wrong went wrong this season. When Daryl Morey comes out and says, we got to get younger, we got to do this, we got to do that, he's right. But I also think they got to get a little bit better, too. Like, you need to get better players.
All right, so a number of would-be postseason contenders, the Spurs, the Mavs, the Sixers, have a shot at Cooper Flagg or Dylan Harper at number 2, which would be another great ready-now prospect. Matt, which one of these teams would be most impacted by winning this lottery? Which one would turn immediately back into a playoff contender?
It would be the Dallas Mavericks because they would trade the pick. That's Cooper Flagg is signed in New Balance. So there's no way that he winds up in Dallas. Like, that pick's getting moved. But the Mavericks have the ability to kind of reshape around, like that facilitates a KD trade. Like, if you're Phoenix, you're like, yes, that works for sure. Good deal. Send us Daniel Gafford. We're good. So that works out, I think, the best. And that probably puts the Mavs with that kind of star power, even with the injury stuff, probably puts them back into the playoffs next season, even with Kyrie's situation. Spurs, I don't know about, man. Like, the Spurs were underwhelming before Wemby got hurt. Like, they were underwhelming. I don't know who's making a huge jump next year outside of Castle. Like, I don't know who's making that jump. Wemby will continue to improve, provided he can get back on the court from a conditioning perspective. The Sixers, like, I am not going to go down that road. Like, just, I have no idea what the future holds for the Philadelphia 76ers, good, bad, or ugly. So, to me, it's got to be the Mavs, Hayes.
Yeah, I can see where you're getting at with the Mavs. I think I'm a little bit more confident on the San Antonio Spurs. I just look at it and I look at everything that they have on the team, from De'Aaron Fox being there, Stephon Castle, still got Keldon Johnson, they still got Devin Vassell, of course Wemby if he's able to stay healthy, and then they still have tons of draft capital as well to make moves to continue to solidify that team, whether it be with vets or whatever else. I still think it's the Spurs that getting Cooper Flagg, it instantly puts them in a place that not only they're in the playoffs, but I do think they're a threat to win at least a opening round of the playoffs, even if Wemby does go down at that point. So I have the Spurs higher up there, of course. And then I'm going to say, just because it's the East, and I have not talked very positively about my team, I'm also going to put the Chicago Bulls in there just a little bit. I think if you get Cooper Flagg, his defensive ability, that was the one thing that Bulls team missed more than anything. You didn't have Modest, you have Cooper, you have Josh Giddey, Kobe. I think you have in the Eastern Conference solid enough to definitely be a top 6 seed in the East.
There's so many teams that – go ahead.
So just really quickly, you mentioned the Mavs and the possibility of trading that pick. Does that same analysis apply to the Rockets, who hold the Phoenix Suns pick? Just trading that pick, if they get it 1-2, trading that back to Phoenix in order to facilitate that KD trade?
Possibly. There's been reports that they're more interested in Giannis, which, hey, surprise, they want the 30-year-old versus the 37-year-old. But I think, honestly, that, to me, is the big key here. If the Rockets were to win the lottery with the Suns pick, which, oh, my God, Suns fans, tune into Locked On Suns for that reaction to that one. If you're Milwaukee, like, that's your get-out-of-jail-free card. Like, that gets you back to zero immediately. You trade Giannis for Cooper Flagg and call it good. Like, that to me is like such an incredible outcome for them if they can make that happen.
Okay, coming up on Locked On NBA, we are going to put our focus back onto what is happening now in the postseason. Some Cavs Pacers analysis, OKC and Denver, and we'll look ahead to the Wolves facing off against the Warriors. And it's been all about Anthony Edwards for the Wolves this season, but it's another name that people are talking about as possibly propelling them to a finals berth. We'll talk more about that coming up on Locked On NBA. Today's episode of Locked On NBA is brought to you by Monarch Money. Ever check your bank account and wonder, where did all my money go? Between dining out, online shopping, entertainment. It's easy to lose track. That's where Monarch Money comes in. It is your personal CFO giving you full visibility and control over your finances. Monarch Money isn't just a budgeting app. It is a complete financial command center with all of your accounts, investments, your spending. It's all in one place, and you can go beyond just managing money and actually build wealth. When I started using Monarch, I realized just how much I was spending on streaming services. Spoiler alert, it was a lot, but now I'm budgeting smarter and I'm saving more. And the best part is I don't have to use multiple apps, juggling all of those apps. I just use Monarch to check my finances, track my spending, and plan out all of my long-term goals. It's awesome. It can be awesome for you too. Take control of your finances with Monarch Money. Use code LOCKEDONNBA at monarchmoney.com for 50% off your first year. That's monarchmoney.com, code LOCKEDONNBA for half off your first year. Today's episode is also brought to you by Hungry Root. Everyone in my house, they're all on different schedules right now, work, school, and dinner always feels like an afterthought. That's why Hungry Root has been a total game changer. It's like having a personal shopper and a nutritionist rolled up all into one. They handle the groceries and give you personalized meal recommendations based on your taste and your health goals. I love that it learns what I like and it gets better every time with high protein, gut-friendly meals that come together in 15 minutes or less. I can eat better without spending hours in the kitchen. This week, we've got veggie stir fry, salmon tacos, snack box, and the whole family, they fight over the snack boxes. I'll tell you, just another spoiler alert, I lose that fight every time. It's healthy food that I actually enjoy. Sometimes I get it, mostly I don't, but it fits our family's life right now. Here's the deal. Get 40% off your first box plus a free item in every box for life. Go to hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Use code LockedOnNBA. That's hungryroot.com/LockedOnNBA. Code LockedOnNBA to save. More Locked On NBA ahead. Thanks again for making Locked On NBA your first listen every day. So we talked about some pitches earlier in the show, and the Pacers right now, they're making their pitch for being a serious finals contender after a 129-109 victory in Game 4 over the Cavaliers, where the score really didn't reflect the true dominance that was on display in that game. They go up 3-1, and I think we'll have plenty of time to talk about them. I want to talk about the Cavs while we have the chance, maybe, and Danny Cunningham of Locked On Cavs, who says this series has been and will continue to be about one thing, and that's Donovan Mitchell.
In the two games that the Cavs have looked good, so Game 2 and Game 3, the common denominator there is Donovan Mitchell was great. Game 2, 48 points, nearly wills the Cavs to victory, a game they should have won. Game 3, 43 points. I think, for my money, the second best non-LeBron Cavs playoff game that the franchise has ever had. That's how great he was in Game 3. Cavs get an MRI on Donovan Mitchell on his ankle on Monday. If it is not that bad, they have some hope because they need Donovan Mitchell to be great to win the next 3 games in this series. Number 2, they've got to start hitting shots. I know I've talked about this a ton in this series. It probably sounds like a broken record, but if the Cavs are shooting their average percentage from 3, they're probably up 3-1 right now in this series. If they just have average 3-point games, they're probably winning this series 3-1. Instead, they've had 3 abysmal performances.
Hayes, I want to start with you. If the Cavs lose in 5, what is this going to do to how we view Donovan Mitchell, superstar, star, that debate that constantly happens? Do you think that the injuries to him this postseason series have robbed us of that opportunity to make that judgment, or do you think you've learned about the limits on the load that he can carry?
Yeah, I mean, I think both can be true. Like, you definitely realize the limits of what he can carry. I mean, but you need a team and you need balance on the team. We know that you need that as far as the playoffs go on. I think overall, like, you don't want to judge this Cavs team too harshly because of all the injuries that have happened over this series and things like that. And Darius Garland and these guys, they returned at a time where, I think if it was the regular season, they wouldn't even thought about returning as early as what they did. So they're trying to fight out there and compete. But I don't think you want to judge Donovan Mitchell too harshly on his superstar status or not, because he did the best he could. And he put up some great performances. The team just didn't have enough.
I wasn't expecting that. I was expecting for Hayes to go for the kill shot after his early season comments about Donovan. Donovan's averaging 29, 4, and 4 in these playoffs. He's been phenomenal every single night. He wasn't good in game 4 because he played half of the game. Here's another thing. Doug, I don't know that we're done. If Donovan can go, if that MRI gets cleared and he's okay and he plays in game 5, I like the Cavs to win that game. If they go on the road to game 6 and make any defensive adjustments, Danny's got to stop talking about hitting shots here. Buddy, they're putting up like 81 on you first half. Like, the problem's the defense. You got to get balanced here. You can't rely on shooty hoops here. You're not that team. You're not the Warriors from 2016, not this year. This year's throwing bricks in a trash can. But you got to get defensive if they're going to win this series. Atkinson's got to make some adjustments. They ran back out with the same scheme that they ran in game 3, thinking it was fine. That's a switching defense and a zone that they were going to bust. There was no adjustments that Atkinson made, but he's got an opportunity now. If they can get back fully healthy, I'm telling you, they could still win this series.
All good points, not about shooty hoops. It certainly wasn't about shooty hoops in the Denver OKC game because neither team seemed to be able to hit a shot. The Thunder, they nearly go down 3-1 before staging a comeback to make it 2-2, heading back to OKC. Let's hear from Rylan Stiles of Locked On Thunder with his take on what propelled the OKC Thunder to tie it up.
So at times depth can be a bit overrated, but in a series like this one, in series like these two teams have played, where it's been every other day for the last month they've been playing playoff basketball, like that's a big deal. It was Cason Wallace, it was Aaron Wiggins, and it was Alex Caruso who deserve a ton of praise. And without these three guys, you did not get this win tonight, and that came at the cost of benching Lou Dort. And this is a luxury that the Thunder can't afford and are required to take. Lou Dort's one of your best guys, but what if one of your best guys doesn't have it that night? And the Thunder have levers to pull, and teams like Denver do not have a true levers to pull in terms of like what you look at their two rosters side by side. Denver just has an exceptionally great, top 5, 6, 7 group of guys, and they've gotten just enough from the Watsons of the world, from the Zekes of the world, etc.
So what do you think about that analysis, Matt, that the Denver doesn't have enough levers to pull in this series? Do you think that's going to be the deciding factor as they head back to OKC?
Potentially. So Wiggins and Cason Wallace, who, by the way, people need to understand because everyone's like, ooh, Alex Caruso. Cason Wallace is a dog, and he is a big-time shot maker. Like, he's a guy I trust to hit those shots. He came in as a shooter and became a defender. But they hit those shots versus a zone the Nuggets ran with their second unit to start the fourth quarter. And there was really no reason for them to run that. If you're going to run zone, do it when Jokic is on the floor so you can hide him a little bit and his vulnerabilities. You could switch 1-5 with the Nuggets. They have more tactical stuff that they can do. Ryland's not wrong that the Thunder have this ability to go to different options versus Denver's going to have to figure out different combinations or levers with the same guys. They don't have different mechanisms to go to. However, they do have things that they can do with their starting 5 that OKC can't do with their starting 8. So there's still an opportunity here, I think, for Denver to make this a series or extend it to a game 7, which is the goal here. Denver, by winning on Friday, guaranteed a game 6 at home, at worst with a chance to extend the series. I think this thing's going 7.
Hayes, on Locked On NBA, one of Matt's, the Locked On NBA game night, one of Matt's teammates on Locked On Nuggets said that if Oklahoma City moves on from this series, this will be their toughest test of the playoffs. Do you agree? If OKC is able to get away from Denver, that it's going to be cake after this?
I don't know if it's going to be cake because I think either way they're going to be facing off against. It's probably going to be the Wolves at this point. The Wolves are going to be a tough physical matchup for them, especially with the way that both Anthony Edwards and Julius Randle are playing together. So I don't think it's going to be cake if they get past this. I think the other team's going to have depth. I'm not saying that they aren't going to be favored. They absolutely are going to be favored no matter what series that they're in. But to say this is just going to be cake against the Minnesota Timberwolves, I think people are really overlooking the Wolves. And if the Thunder go into that series overlooking them, they're going to get punched in the mouth.
Yeah, it's not going to be cake. It's going to be humble pie because they're either losing to the Wolves or they're losing to the Celtics in the finals. I love OKC. I think they're such a fun and marvelous team. I do not think they're winning the title. I don't think they're ready yet.
All right, we're going to get closer to finding out who the Thunder or the Nuggets would potentially play tonight. The Wolves and Warriors face off in Game 4, and while most agree that this is Anthony Edwards' team and this is possibly his playoffs, it's been Julius Randle who people have been talking about the last few days. He gets a triple-double in the Wolves' Game 3 win. He has 23 assists in the last 2 games. Matt, are you ready to believe in this version of Julius Randle?
It's not about believing. It's about giving him credit for what he's done. And we don't do this enough where a guy has he's supposed to be this playoff choker. Towns is like this. Towns was phenomenal in that Sun series last year and arguably even better versus the Nuggets. But he has a bad series versus the Mavericks, and it's same old Towns. You don't get any credit for these tougher matchups that you've adapted to and gotten better. You have to get better every year of the playoffs. You know who actually wasn't great in his first couple of runs of the playoffs? Steph Curry. Steph Curry was actually not that great in the 2015 or 16 runs. He was hurt in 16. But he's become this legend because he got more chances to get there and get comfortable at it. Julius having this opportunity, I think, has been absolutely terrific. He may struggle next round if the matchup's different, but he deserves credit for what he's already done so far, given the Wolves an opportunity here to advance to the conference finals for a second straight year after a trade everyone rightfully panned.
Yeah, I mean, Julius Randle and the way that he's played in this, I talked about this a little bit over the weekend. Like, he has been amazing. Like, this may be the best version of Julius Randle as far as just recognition, as far like the physicality, understanding when to try to take players off the dribble, when to pass. He's averaging 9.5 assists in this series. It's crazy how well he's passing the ball. Julius Randle is playing some of the best basketball at the highest level that we've seen him do. And it's been his scoring more so than even Anthony Edwards, who's been, up and down some in this series. And I think he's still going to be great overall. But like the play that Julius Randle has had has been great, amazingly. And I don't know if anybody on that Warriors team is going to be able to slow him down.
All right, so Randall's been fantastic for the Wolves. Then you look at the Pacers, Tyrese Halliburton. I mean, Cleveland's defense just had no idea what to do with him at times. Miles Turner could not miss. Are there more reasons, Hayes, to believe in the Indiana Pacers making a finals run, or are there more reasons to believe in the Minnesota Timberwolves?
That's a great. I think both teams have been very well coached, but right now I'd say the Pacers. There's more reason to believe in the Pacers. Rick Carlisle has had just these game plans that have just been amazing. That the intentionality behind the way that the Pacers have been playing, both physical wise, on the defensive side of the ball, everything. And they've done all of this while Tyrese Halliburton is averaging like 12 points per game in this series, and they've still been able to do it. So I give the edge to the Pacers because of coaching. If you're talking about roster, I give it to the Minnesota Timberwolves. But the coaching aspect for the Pacers has really impressed me.
God, please give us Wolves Pacers in the finals. Please, just one time. Let's get a finals like Wolves Pacers. It's going to be the Wolves have a better chance here. The Thunder, if let's say the Denver does get Game 6 at least, then OKC is coming off of a Game 7 into that next series versus what's likely a fresher Wolves team. I do think Warriors win tonight, by the way. The Wolves have a real shot to be able to compete in that series and beat OKC. I can't see Indiana getting past Boston. I can't get there. I just cannot see them getting past Boston. I think they'll make it competitive. I think they'll hang. I think it'll be a great series. I think it'll be like, if only Indiana, but like we're not escaping the doom of Boston's math drudgery quite yet. We have not been good enough basketball fans to deserve better than that yet.
All right, what you do deserve is a double dose of Locked On NBA squad shows, and that's what we have for you today on the feed and live on YouTube. There's going to be a draft lottery squad show, but then we're also going to do a playoff squad show here on Locked On NBA. So make sure you're subscribed to the YouTube channel, subscribe to the podcast, wherever you get your podcasts, including YouTube. Thanks so much to Matt and Hayes for their expertise every single day. Thank you for making Locked On NBA your first listen, and for your second listen, check out Locked On NBA Game Night. It's every game, it's every night until an NBA champion is crowned. Get local analysis on a national scale. Find NBA Game Night on Locked On NBA on YouTube or wherever you listen to podcasts. Enjoy tonight's action. Enjoy the lottery. Be kind to each other. And we're going to see you right back here for more analysis on Locked On NBA.